Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, September 30. Government intends to have a new National Identification System, NIDS, in place by year end. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during a statement in Parliament Tuesday. Mr. Holness revealed that the new National Identification and Registration Bill had been complete. He said a NIDS policy committee, along with a legislation committee of Parliament, would review the document. Following this, the bill would go before Parliament and a joint select committee would be established to discuss the legislation.
The government is fully cognizant of and sensitive to the legitimate concerns that persons have regarding data protection and privacy. We are committed to putting in place the legislative, technological, and independent oversight mechanisms to ensure the rights of persons are respected and protected. So the government will also provide an online forum on nidsfacts.com for all Jamaicans to comment on the bill.
So far, Cabinet has approved the new Voluntary National Identification and Registration Policy. Changes include the voluntary enrollment as well as the use of minimum biometrics, which are fingerprint, facial image, and manual signature. The original NIDS bill, which was passed in 2017, was deemed unconstitutional and struck down by the High Court in 2019. Also coming out of Parliament Tuesday, the Education Minister has announced that $20,000 in subsidy will be provided to 36,000 students for purchasing tablets or laptops. This will benefit needy families who are not on the program of Advancement Through Health and Education path. Minister Favour Williams says the students will be selected through a registration and criteria process.
We will announce the start date for the registration process. We have a minimum specification for the tablets and laptops so that parents can be guided and do not end up purchasing inferior tablets and laptops.
The minimum specification for the tablets is 1 GB of memory, 32 GB of storage, and at least an 8-inch screen. As it relates to laptops, the minimum specification is 4 GB of memory and 500 GB of storage. The laptops should also come with Intel i3 or dual-core processors.
E-Learning has negotiated wholesale prices with selected vendors of the Jamaican equivalent of US $150 for tablets and US $460 for laptops, inclusive of GCT. There's also a 12-month warranty in place.
In addition, the Education Ministry is in talks with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, to launch a one laptop or tablet per child initiative. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education is currently developing a homeschool policy, which will be reviewed by its legal team. Registrar of the Independent Schools Unit in the ministry, Dr. Euphemia Burke-Robinson, made the disclosure during an interview with JIS News. She says parents and guardians who choose homeschooling must ensure that their children are educated in a safe environment that is conducive to learning, guided by standards provided by the ministry. The Independent Schools Unit in the Education Ministry has responsibility for the registration, approval, and regulation of homeschools in Jamaica. Dr. Burke-Robinson says parents who are requesting homeschooling should write to the Board of Management of the school in which the student is enrolled. The letter should indicate that the child has been approved for homeschooling and request that his or her registration at the school be retained. This request should be supported by a certified copy of the approval granted by the Independent Schools Unit. Persons seeking further information may email the unit at isu@moey.gov.jm. In other news, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton has announced a $74 million intervention program to bolster staff well-being within the ministry. The support program, which will operate for a year, is part of government's response to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on health workers. $37 million will be spent in this fiscal year, with an additional $37 million to be requested for financial year 2021-2022. Dr. Tufton says the program will be led by his office and will be channeled through the regional health authorities. The initiative will target staff burnout through 5 components: human resource management, staff engagement and communication, rest and relaxation, as well as COVID support and wellness.
As this program will lead to a number of specific initiatives, Madam Speaker. Mandatory rest days for staff who would have worked excessive hours, mandatory 48-hour results for staff members who have done COVID-19 tests, preferential rates in hotels and other facilities to support all staff within the system, family support and counseling for those who are most impacted by the disease, and increase engagement and support to management within the regions and parishes to better support staff within the facilities and offices where they work.
Dr. Tufton was addressing Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He said implementation of the program would be supported through strong collaboration with the private sector. And finally, the House of Representatives now has its full complement of members of Parliament. On Tuesday, the remaining 3 of the 63 parliamentarians were sworn in. They are Lisa Hanna of Southeast St. Anne, Philip Enriquez of Northwestern Clarendon, and Eastern Westmoreland's Daniel Lawrence. The 3 were sworn in after being declared the winners of a magisterial recount following the September 3 general election. The ruling Jamaica Labour Party now has 49 members of Parliament to the People's National Party's 14. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.